Next item is election of committee members. You have a list. The resolution, in the recommendation of the resolution is that the committee membership stays the same as last year. There's a resolution on page 206. May I have a mover, please, for that resolution? Thank you, Mr. Ortona. Any questions? Mr. Feldman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Normally we have elections. Did you cancel the elections?
I would recommend this resolution. If it passes, it'll go through. If the council chooses not to just go forward with the membership as we had it last year, we will go forward with an election. Otherwise, consider this your election.
Well, that's not the question that I asked. Did you,
I have not done anything. The council will be doing it. I just made a recommendation through a draft resolution.
But if you place this on the agenda with a recommended resolution, did you verify whether this is in conformity with our rules of council?
We can do it if the council votes for it.
Well, can you tell us what the, I don't have the rules in front of me, but does it say that the council can circumvent its elections? I mean, that's what it would be required. That's what you're suggesting.
I'm not suggesting anything. These are the names that we presently have. If this council wants to have an election by saying everyone who's there is just going forward again, we're going to do it, as opposed to going...
Madam Chair, we have to follow our council rules.
But I'm telling you that we're able to do it. This was a resolution that went through a Secretary General who is asked to look at those things. I'm not the one who looks at every rule every single time.
But if you, Madam Chair, if you
yes,
recommend...
we can do it. Mr. Feldman, a question was, could we do it? The answer is
Madam
yes.
Chair, if you recommend something that implies, that brings, where you invoking our rules, surely you would say by rule X, Y, and Z, we can do that. I don't see this anywhere. You haven't justified it to me as an elected representative, to this council, or to the public.
Okay, well, the council can take me to task by voting against it.
Well, no, Madam Chair. The council can't vote to not follow its own rules. It has to follow its rules. And if we don't have them in front of us, how do we know that council has a legal right to do what you're recommending? That's my question. You don't have your
rules on you. They have them on the computer.
But Madam Chair, you're the chairman of the committee, and we have the Secretary General right here. So what do the rules say with respect to elections for committees? That's my question. You're telling me you don't know. Does the Secretary General know?
You want the exact reading in the rules, so we can quote.
Well, Madam Chair, you're saying let's go around the rules. Let's do it differently. I'm saying do our rules allow us to do that?
I'm going to warn you
once. It's a simple question,
and I'm telling
Madam Chair.
you very clearly, we are not going to do the song and dance we did last year. Please wait for your answer. Your question was, can we do it? There is supposed to be an election of committees every year. That's been the same rule forever. We have chosen to have an election by automatically putting everyone back on. It is a council's decision now if this is the type of election that they wish to have or not have. And we are now going to get you the information as to the exact reading in our rules. And if this is not something that's allowed, then we will not have it. But I'm assuming that since it went through Secretary General that it is allowed. Otherwise, we wouldn't have it here.
Madam Chair, why would anyone assume anything if it's not there in the resolution? It has to be justified in the resolution.
No, it does not.
But Madam Chair.
May I have an answer to what, can someone look up our rules and what they say? Okay. No, I'm not postponing anything. I'm going to get you the reading of the rules.
You can't do whatever you want, Madam Chair. You have to follow the rules.
Nope, that's not what it says in the rules, so.
We verified before we put out the agenda that this was acceptable according to bylaw SG 6. Line 3, which says that there must be an annual election. This constitutes an annual election. It was determined by the lawyers. Would you like to hear from them?
Okay, if the bylaw says we have to have elections, don't tell me that we don't have to have elections. We have to have elections.
We are having elections.
Well, elections require nominations, Madam Chair, and that's the way we've always done it.
Oui, on y va maintenant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's mentioned in the resolution, actually, at first paragraph, that this is held according to our policy SG6. Now, I just wanted to precise that For the executive committee and the QESBA and the Comité de gestion de la taxe scolaire, they have a different term. But every other committee that is up for election, it's part of the policy SG6, and we need to go for the annual renewal of those membership. So it is in a
And
resolution.
can we have elections with a slate automatically saying that everyone that was on the committees last year would be the same people on the committee this year?
There's nothing that prevents.
That's right, nothing that says we can't.
Thank you. So is everyone in favor? Are there any nays, any abstentions? One abstention, thank you. Motion is carried.
One nay, Madam Chair.
A nay or abstention? Nay? One nay.
Madam Chair, if it
Thank
says
you.
you must have elections, don't
Commissioners,
stand there as chairman saying we
next
don't have to
item-
have it. It's absurd, Madam Chair.
Mr. Feldman, I'm going to ask you to leave the meeting because I'm not going to stand here and have you insult me and make comments to the public when you've just been told very clearly what the rules are and you are still insulting my integrity. I'm going to ask you to leave the meeting, Mr. Feldman.
Chair, you
We're
read
taking a
the rules.
5-minute recess, and when you come back, you're going to be gone from the meeting. Thank you.
You read the rules and then you broke them, Madam Chair.
Feldman left the room. Mr. Feldman, you'll be leaving? You're not leaving the room? Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. So the next item, Mr. Ortona?
In that case, Madam Chair, I'm going to move that we adjourn and table everything on the, remaining on the agenda to the next meeting.
There's a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is everyone in agreement? Mr. Ross?
I think it's an irresponsible move, and we have a responsibility to our stakeholders to continue this meeting and continue the business of this agenda.
Thank you very much for your opinion. Are there any other comments? Is everyone in agreement with the adjournment? Any nays? Any abstentions? 2 abstentions? The 3 abstentions, Mr. Lala, Mr. Canavino, and Mrs. Latanzio, and Mr. Feldman. Thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.